Now, you ever wondered what actually happens inside the Spring Boot when your application gets started? Okay, so in this video, we will go step by step and understand how Spring creates Bean, how it injects its dependencies, and why @lazy behaves with the way how to use that, and when the object will get created when we use @lazy annotation. So first of all, we'll see some step here. Okay. First of all, we will see some steps here. If we go here, let's say we have this tester class annotated with @Spring Boot application, and here context is created. Okay. This run method is there, and this run method returns the context. So we have here two objects. One is car and one is engine. Okay. So car has dependency of this engine. Okay, and car is depend on engine, and it is created using field injection. Okay, so field injection is not recommended way, but for just understanding the purpose we created this field injection. Recommended approach is, constructor injection. So here car is the object. Okay, so public car, and here we have created engine, and let's say we remove this one. Okay, then we'll inject here. Okay, okay. So we can see that first engine object will get created, and then car object is get created. Okay, so this is the default behavior. Default behavior is nothing but uh, eager initialization will be happen, and eager initialization and singleton scope of the bean will be there for default. Okay, so let's say this car object is there, and let's say we have not added any @lazy annotation. So by default eager means eager initialization of this bean will happen. Okay, so whenever JVM starts and load the tester class, this tester class is having main method, and it is having this SpringApplication.run tester.class and arguments. Okay, so whenever JVM is load this line, okay, so what happens? Main method is get invoked. This whenever JVM is loading this class into main memory, then this main method will get invoked. Then it come to this line. Okay, and this line, this Spring Application.run will get called, tag frame will get created, and Spring Application.run will get called. From here, everything is Spring responsibility for now, because it is Spring Application.run. Okay, Spring creates annotation, config, servlet, web server application context. So Spring create this context, and this is nothing but our application context container. Okay, so at this point, empty application context will be get created. So whatever the beans are there, okay, this car, this engine, these dependencies, objects will not get created for these dependencies. Okay, so this will be the like empty container will be there, but some metadata will exist there. So internally, uh, some metadata will be get created for those classes. Okay, so at this point empty application context is got created, no car no engine. So it then spring found that, oh, at that spring boot application annotation is there. Okay, where it is written, see here it is written on this class. So it founds that annotation, and internally that annotation has three internal annotations: at the rate configuration, at the rate enable auto configuration, and at the rate component scan. So it will scan all the packages using this at the rate component scan. So it will scan all the packages, and it founds that, okay, car bean is there, which is annotated with at the rate component, and engine bean is there, which is also annotated with at the rate component, and car is the main bean, and engine is the dependent bean inside that. Okay, so it founds that all these things, and when component scanning will happen, so then what spring does that it just creates the definitions for those beans. Just metadata will be get created. Means object is not great get created yet. Okay, object is not created yet, and it just creates the metadata like information about that bean. So bean definition is car, class is car, scope is singleton, by default it is singleton, initialization is lazy, false. Okay, because um, you know initialization will be eager by default. Okay, and depends on engine. So engine depends, whatever the depends on builds are there, those bin objects are great get created very first, then our main object will get created always. Okay, dependent bin objects will get always created first. So it creates bin definition for engine as well in the same way. And then uh, so till this point objects are not created yet. Okay, only bean factory is initialized already, and in application context or bean definitions are present. So our factory knows that, and it has already the metadata, right? And it knows that which beans are there we need to create, which beans are there we need to initialize, and what are the dependent beans. Application context already know till this point. Okay, then singleton bin creation will start here. Okay, since car is already singleton bin and engine is already singleton bin, then engine bin will get created first because it is the dependent bin. Okay, car depends on engine. Okay, so whatever the dependent bins are there, engine is dependent bins, so the dependent bins will get created first. So engine bin will get created first. Then Spring uses reflection API, and it calls constructor of that new engine to create the bin, and it stores instance to the singleton cache. Okay, so in cache memory it will store that instance, then car bin will get created, then it detect the dependencies, what are the dependencies of that car. Okay, engine is the dependency, then it fetches the engine dependency and call the constructor, and using the constructor it set the bean. Okay, like this new car, and inside that constructor it will set the dependent bean. Okay, and then it will store it to the singleton pool. Okay, so now in singleton pool both car dependency is there and engine dependency is also there. Then post processor will run, and then it returns the context. So till this point we till this point line number 14 is processing everything. Okay, it creates the singleton singleton cache. In singleton cache, first dependent beans engine and all are created, then car bean will get created, and in car constructor engine dependency will be get injected, and then it will return the fully constructed context. Okay, now we have the context, right? Now this line completes. Okay, now in this point we have the context. Now whenever we are doing get bin, right, here we are doing get bin, so here we are doing get bin. So spring looks in the singleton cache, so in cache everything is present, right? So it finds the car bin and returns it. Okay, so let's test this. So let's test this line by line. Okay, okay. So till this point, our context is ready. If you see this context, everything is ready. And if we do the contains bean, right, which means in the context itself, we are checking the bean is present or not. Okay. So here car bean and our engine beans are already present. Okay. So it will return true. If you see, this is also returning true. If we can check like in context our engine bean is there or not. Context dot get bean, and here we can give engine uh, context dot contains bean. We can contains bean engine boolean is engine bean present. Okay, so let's see if engine bean is present. Let's debug it again. So we should see both car and engine beans are present in the container. Okay. So if you see car is present, engine bean is also present. Okay. Both beans are present. So whenever we are calling the get bean, so here for creating the object, it is eagerly created already. So that's why constructor will not get called. Okay. And it will just return the object from our cache itself. Okay. If you see this one. So car constructor, we have already putting, breakpoint here, let's say, and engine constructor also, let's write engine constructor called, okay, and let's put the breakpoint here. So here, okay, so since we are using the eager initialization, so our constructor will get called when it is creating the context itself, okay, and whenever it is putting the object inside our cache, singleton cache. So our constructor will not get create again here. Okay, so if we debug this one, okay, so whenever application is getting started, at that time only constructor is getting called. Okay, both the constructor are getting called. First it called engine constructor, then it called car constructor, and it is setting the engine object. See, okay, now every time constructor will not get called. Okay, constructor will get called only once, and it will return the bean. Okay, and we can call the drive method, and car is getting drive. No problem at all. Okay, so if you see, first empty container is created, no beans. Then it return the then it return the context, and in context everything is present. Then in singleton cache every beans are present. Then dependent beans are created. Then main beans are created. Then our engine is started, and then car is able to drive. Okay, so this is the case. And if we see the eager initialization, okay, so whenever we are writing at the rate lazy annotation, okay, at that time object and your constructor will not get called whenever application is getting started. It will get called whenever we are doing get bean. Okay, so till this point our object will already present in context, but objects are not created, they are just present in metadata. Okay, so whenever we are calling the get bean, at that time constructor will get called and it will create the object. We can see that. So in order to make our bean as lazy initialized bean, so we can add this at the rate lazy annotation on top of our bean, And then if we run this one, then constructor will not get called whenever we are creating the context, application context. So let's debug this one. So constructor will not get called here. Okay, but the car and engine beans are already present in the metadata. So you will get true here. Okay, so it is returning from metadata. It is saying in metadata those beans are there, but constructor are yet not called. Okay, means your bean is not yet get created. Whenever you will invoke context.getBean, at that time your constructor will get called. Okay, see, okay, engine constructor is get called because it is the dependent bean. Okay, first it will call create the engine, then it will create car, then it will inject that engine inside the car, and then it will call this drive method, and your code will run perfectly fine. So you got the engine started, car is driving, everything, right? Yeah, so that's it from this video. So in order to shortly describe this one, okay, so we can write some points here. Okay. first point is first point is uh, in application context only metadata will be loaded first. Okay, then singleton object will get created, then post processor will run, then return the context, then we can get the bean from the context, and then we can use the bean. Okay, and finally application will get terminated. Okay, so thank you for watching.